Hello, this is Mike Griffin. I'd like to show you some progress we're making on the ESLite architecture. We're currently calling it ESLite. It's derived from entity spaces. It's been changed somewhat, but it's still the full-featured architecture. We'll be renaming it from ESLite to something else because first it's not light and it's going to have a totally new name. So we'll have a new name here within, I don't know, probably within a week. Basically, what you're looking at is MonoDevelop sitting on a Mac. I'm remoted in, so the screen might be a little slow as I move things around. And what we've got is we've got MonoTouch installed on here, and we're going to run an iPad application in this case. So let's open up our application. We're going to open up Hello World iPad here. If you're an Entity Spaces user or using ESLite, this will immediately look familiar to you. Let's go to the main class here. There we go. You'll notice the assemblies over here. They end in .ios. That's how MonoTouch refers to their iPhone, iPad environment, and so that's what we name our projects. These projects are basically MonoDevelop projects that are using the same exact classes that the normal Windows projects use, and they're in the same folders. So you could just sync down the ESLite GitHub repository, and you have the Windows and the iPhone, iPad system all there. It's the same code. You don't have to go in and define any kind of compiler directives or anything like that. You just include the right projects in it, and it works for you. So one of the things that Mono doesn't do is support config files, and in this case, the person who wrote this application, Eddie Connor, is using this for offline storage in case someone on an iPad can't get Wi-Fi access. So he's registering a configuration connection to the SQLite provider and so on, like you normally would in Entity Spaces. And basically we're talking to a SQLite database. Typically people will talk to, probably, especially using ESLite, since it serializes back and forth in JSON in hierarchical fashion very easily to WCF JSON services, which will have a whole set of templates, or maybe even just only a couple of templates that generate the code for you up on my second generation, which is cloud-based. And since we're running on the Mac and probably end up be running on the Linux and all the mobile devices, it's a cloud-based code generation system. But let's go ahead and run this and take a look at what this is doing. Let's debug it. I think I have a breakpoint set. So we're launching the iPad simulator, and there's an add record button down here. Let's go ahead and click that. We've hit a breakpoint. We're going to new this survey object, and that's just the generated class that's reverse engineered from your database automatically for you. Let's put a breakpoint on the save method. Let's run to that point, and let's hit step. We'll step over that line. You can see it, operated just fine. So we just wrote a record to the database, SQLite database on the iPad. Let's go ahead and remove those and just run wide open. So we've got, what, 212 records. Let's go ahead and hit add, add, add. I mean, nothing sophisticated here, but it just demonstrates that we are running under MonoTouch. We're running on an iPad, and actually Eddie has this code actually running on a physical iPad, not just a simulator. And typically, if you're not using a local database, you would just use the core, the dynamic query, and the interfaces, and then you would be serializing data back and forth from the device to a WCF JSON service on your server, which is also on the other end ESLite. So you're using the same business objects on both sides of the wire communication, which is really cool. And then you can also run this, and we haven't written the solutions yet, but we'll add those shortly, are the Android projects, and then recently MonoTouch just came out with MonoTouch.Mac, which is the full Mac Lion OS with the Mac Store and all that. You can write full-blown Mac applications in C#, and we'll be supporting those as well. So we just wanted to show you some of the progress. And actually, if I was to add a solution, let's go ahead and do that. Let's say add existing project. What I did to get my code on the Mac was just email myself the entire ESLite GitHub repository, clicked on the zip file, and it went into the downloads area, and there's ESLite, there's the core, and you can see there's my iOS, and that's how I added my projects. I just literally, in just a few seconds, emailed myself the code, downloaded it onto this Mac, and added my iOS projects, and was up and running with an iPad application in no time. And this all compiles out of the box as is, and it's already working and up in our GitHub repository. Of course, the full Windows, normal Windows, Microsoft operating system classes and projects are there too, and they work as well. So anyway, I hope you like that. Watch for more of the mobile tablet platform devices to come online shortly, and a whole bunch of cleanup work. We've got to come up with a name, and we'll be assigning a whole bunch of tasks in the GitHub repository. So if you haven't signed up and you want to work with us on this, go ahead and get a GitHub account and go to the brewdog.forums. You obviously you found this video, so you probably know where that is. And also, what we really need are a couple of guys, or maybe even just a person who's pretty good at iPad, iPhone UI. We need to write a demo that's really pretty cool. And basically, what I'm going to do is create a WCF JSON service that hosts the Northwind database up on the BrewDog server, and so that all the demos can just run against a live database. So if you're an Android person, if you're a Mac iPad person, we could use some people that could volunteer and write some demos for us. And you'll probably like working to maybe adopt Entity Spaces as your architecture, because you can run it anywhere. That's one of the beauties of it. And also it supports many databases, and it's database independent, meaning you can just change the connection string, and if you have the same schema in another database, your application will work against that as well. And the dynamic query API is exactly like basically writing SQL Server, so you don't have anything new and complicated to learn like Link. Anyway, we hope you guys like that. Stay tuned. Thanks.